Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of What If Civilization Started Over. In the last episode, we saw a couple of events happen. The main one was the start of something not very fun up here. We saw the Green Swiss country here doing genocides on a lot of their major cities. Um, so yeah, that's not fun. Um, we saw the continuation of a big war that started. That was pretty much it. We also saw a couple other countries switch ideologies. But for now, let's get back into this episode. Alright, so over here, we're gonna start off in Egypt. Egypt is pretty much, Egypt surprisingly hasn't surrendered yet. Although, let's be honest, they're not gonna make it much farther. One major city over here is captured. As we see, Libya moves in through these regions here. Mesopotamia, they kind of follow down the Nile, wherever it is, somewhere around here. But they take over a lot of this here. And then they also push in and take over, like, this up here. And the rest of it is kind of taken over by this green something country. Honestly, don't know what to call them. So, there you have it. So, Egypt has fallen, which now means there's just this orange country, Ghana, West Africa, and this green country down here left. However, let's see how long that lasts. Caribbean makes another naval landing, this time down here in this green country, and once their capital is captured, and then the rest of their coast, they don't get any aid. They never really were getting aid because the Circle Alliance thought Caribbean wasn't gonna invade them because Caribbean would be focused on destroying everybody else. But here we are. So Caribbean fully takes them over too. Up here, Caribbean will also invade into Guinea now, who doesn't have a capital, but I think it's it's this major city right here. I have never given them a capital. In there, I don't even remember how many episodes of existing. I think they formed way back in World War One, and I still haven't given them a capital. But their capital is captured pretty quickly. As at this point in this war, they are the last remaining country. Well, second to last remaining country. Up here we see West Africa is pretty pretty much just divided up between the four countries invading it. All but one of them are fascist, and Caribbean kind of leans towards fascism. Their dictator is like kind of fascist. But like a lot of this area in the Sahara here is captured by the green team. So good for them. Libya's invasions are massive. But now the diamonds will focus on this orange country and Guinea. We saw what went on with Guinea. Over here, it's pretty similar. Um, so should use Tanzania's color. Which, if you noticed, I left these two here. That is West France. I do believe that is West France. That is the invading color of West France. Okay. Well, that makes this more fun. Over here. Tanzania is just being liberated. This is not. This doesn't look great for me. I don't know. Maybe it is. Okay, yeah. That looks about right. Yeah, like that. Alright, so Tanzania is kind of liberated in this area. These countries now not push into Mozambique much. So Mozambique is kind of now just like they're chill. Oh, see, well, they're not entirely chill. They hold on to what they have of Tanzania, but they don't really care about what else is going on. They only really invaded Tanzania. Like this close. So this country here gets invaded now. And they're not going to last very long at all. They're not a top 20 power. In fact, they're probably actually they're probably the strongest of these five countries here, but they're they were not the strongest economy or most stable. That goes to these guys right here. So good for them. All right. So now this country's pretty much gonna fall apart. And there's really only two countries that are actually invading into these two, so we can really just do something that looks, whoops, something that looks more like that. And for up here, it'll look like that, because nobody wants to join the war on the side of the circles. Who actually would? Actually, there is somebody who actually what there is a country that kind of did plan to join the war on the side of the circles, which was these guys, but they decided not to, and that's probably a good thing, you know? It's probably a really, really good thing. Alright, so we're gonna take a look at a peace treaty, which will take it'll take up a good portion of the episode. Alright, so here we have our really big peace treaty. We'll start off in the Americas. A bit larger than that. So Caribbean annexes everything that they conquered in the Americas. So they now have two borders on Brazil. Brazil's not very happy about this at all. This is still Caribbean over here. They're getting a colony out of West Africa and Guinea. And dang it, I did it down here too. Alright. So they made a new colony right here. A lot of people in the world aren't very happy about this, but it's kind of starting to reignite something. West Africa still remains, and they have quite a bit of territory as they do. Still, they lost a lot of their territory, but hey, at least you still exist, unlike a lot of other nations, actually. Libya gets all of this here, and okay. So, alright. Libya's getting all of this out of here. They do not take these islands, though. We see the Dark Sign team now controls the southern point in Gibraltar. And the rest of the land up here all goes over to the green Swiss country. And that does include these islands. Alright. And also, I did finally give Guinea a capital, which we see right here. it would have been in that major city, but yeah, they'll actually control those two islands still. And I'm gonna cut that down a bit. Alright. Over here, Libya is still getting land. Don't ask how. That, I believe, was the Great Empire's color. And then they also get a little bit out of Egypt over here. Speaking of Egypt, they are small. As in small. I forgot to get rid of their old capital, which is now controlled by Mesopotamia. But Egypt is not doing so well. Right. Speaking of Mesopotamia, they're getting quite a bit too. We'll talk about that after almost everything. Alright. This green country that I should know the name of. I guess they're kind of Sudan-ish. Yeah. I don't know what to call them. Like Central African. The car. What is see, South Sudan's like right in this area. Or maybe South Sudan. I don't know. But either way, they are also very large right now. Right. I forgot about this blue country that was over here. So right, add their capital there, and oh yeah, so this is what the map looks like beforehand, and then so far. Actually, we'll do a comparison after this. Wrong layer. Very much so. No. Also, not correct. Alright, I guess we'll come down to Tanzania. They're getting away with way too much. They got control over this whole country because these guys couldn't reach down here. But yeah. So then we have Mozambique. They do have control over that island, as well as these. I think that was it for there. So now we're gonna talk about this here. Basically, um, the four main fascist countries in Africa, which are also the only fascist countries in Africa, other than one. But other than these guys, which actually those guys are the main ones. But anyway, so these four fascist nations they all wanted control over this little bit here. But like these guys were honestly too unstable, and the other three couldn't reach up there. So they kind of just demanded Mesopotamia to give this over to the purple team, or else they would invade Mesopotamia. And that's probably not going to go too well, to be honest. Alright, and then maybe you probably did notice this up here. It's just a small little land deal. That was actually going to be later in the episode, but I figure why not just do it now? Just like I'm already doing a peace treaty. Why not just do that as part of the peace treaty? All right, we're gonna we're gonna come up to this Lake Baikal country. Firstly, we're gonna erase. Dang it, that's the one. And there was one major city over here that was on Capital's lair. I forgot which one it was, but I don't think that's where it actually went, but oh well. Alright, so, but speaking of Lake Baikal, we see them beginning to invade another country. Recently, they invaded the yellow team that was right here, and now they're at it again. And who are they invading this time? Well, that's going to be the light blue country. So they begin their invasion in the north, and I don't know if you guys know about my diplomacy wars, but Red China is the worst country overall in the entire world. Um, they're too unstable at this point, on the brink of a revolution. Um, they don't have any money at all because like, their national bank was like blown up. So they don't have any money. They barely even have a functioning currency, and they also don't have a military. They're using police forces as a military, which isn't gonna go well. So they really can't invade anything. Like this Cyan country over here, among the weaker countries in the world, they could easily take China out, Red China out. They wouldn't even have to invade them. They just have to declare war, and they'd take China out. It would be that easy. So, but Lake Baikal is taking notes of this. But as soon as they're about to finish taking out this light blue country, you see this blue country start speaking out, and Baikal doesn't like that. So what do? Invade them as well. What else would they do? And they pretty quickly take over like all of the lands that surround this country. They take their capital as well. And before they even finish off the other country, they take them out and then take the rest of the land right here. And I'll just spare you guys the peace treaty because it's simple as this. They're both fully annexed. And Baikal stretches now from parts of Russia to parts of Russia down to part of India, China. I think Bhutan's probably in almost into Bangladesh. But there's a big reason to why they actually wanted to invade the blue country. Both blue countries, actually. Um, I don't know if you guys know anything about this region right here, but it's kind of cold. It's a little chilly. And, a lot of these ports would be ports are frozen off most of the year, if not all of the year in some of the northern parts. But they want access to warm water, warm oceans. So I think you guys already know who they're planning to invade next. All right. Whoops. All right. Actually, we're gonna go back to the religion map. Coming back over here. Firstly, so this green country here. Who's actually a fan of it? First, let's just start with that. Um, they're doing a couple more no things. Um, so yeah, they're continuing the genocides. Eventually, they have gotten the whole of their nation under, or the like mainland part of their nation is under the red religion. They kind of skip over the island survivor groups and start doing it into their colony. They focus around the major cities, but yeah, it's not. They are looked down upon around the world, but they're not the only ones that are doing this now. You see someone else do it. Storm. Well, I just gave it away who it is, but by call also is going to start doing these things. And they do it under the light blue religion that originates from Caspia. Their their current dictator follows this religion, and he's got similar views to the people over in there, obviously. However, he seems to have extreme hatred for this light pink religion, which he does not spare one bit. So you can kind of say goodbye to them if you like this light pink religion. It is very small right now and mainly based in China. There's a little bit up here in Korea. It's probably one of, if not the smallest religion in the world. It's smallest by people that practice it. Um, but yeah, it's a small religion. Actually, I think it does kind of expand up to there. No, that's a different. But like, oh yeah. So like the colors that are all similar to each other, like you've got brown over here, yellow, red, green. And those colors are oh, those are so red, blue, yellow, pink, pinkish purple, and green are the uh I five main religions. You also have orange and brown over here, which also have their own like sub religions. But any colors that are shades of like that are shades of the red, blue, purple, yellow, orange, and other colors. Any any colors that are like a shade of them are sub religions. Over here we have this kind of bluish purple one. It's mainly from the blue religion, but kind of has mixes from these like type religions over here. Red. So like it, some of them do mix a bit. All right, but looking on to with the no actions, we're gonna call them. Um, the dictator seems to focus up in the north with these. Um, he starts doing them, especially around the major cities, and like Siberia was extreme, but they're not this extreme. um, and speaking of Siberia, they're still looking to be an actual country, an actual recognized country, but there are zero communist nations who want them to be because, I mean, they're fascist. They have like a fascist style government, and no communist is going to want another fascist country to worry about. All right, so you've done those all. All right, I forgot what I was going to do this episode. So, oh well, there's actually only one thing left. Well, two things, because one thing's not in the script. All right, so we have a very big event happening here with the ideology layer. Which I did kind of fix it. I forgot about Egypt being here. Mm, We're gonna pretend Egypt is not that big, and also gonna pretend that I did not just do that. Alright, so with a lot of the like I forgot. Oh crap. I forgot what with a lot of the radical ideologies going on. A lot of the countries that are full democracies are that full democracy is kind of falling. We see it especially happening in the countries that were just involved in this big war, which also does include Mesopotamia. Forgot to give them an ideology. I took it off the map. Alright. Um, so like a lot of these countries are starting to fall with their ideologies. A lot of the main full democracy nations are starting to not become full democracies. We see that especially true in China, which actually China's gonna switch up ideologies a bit. A full black circle means the country is in full anarchy. Um, the president of China had just been assassinated, and well, citizens are a lot of them are happy about this, but we see this we see China is starting to kind of break apart a bit. And there's definitely going to be nations taking note of this. But, alright, so even with some of these full democracies, for example, Sumatra, and up here in Russia, even out in West Mexico and Brazil. So, a lot of flawed democracies. A couple of these other countries, most of them are smaller in size, but there's also some big ones in here, like South China, for example. Is South China's the strongest full democracy? I think you can tell that. But here's the part where we're going off script. Let's do some power rankings, because these are definitely changed up a bit now. Firstly, I think that'll pretty much stay the same. So there is going to be a couple major changes to the map or to the power rankings, but it goes pretty simply. One is once again Caribbean. Sumatra and Caribbean are still fighting for that number one spot, which does mean number two goes to Sumatra still. Um, Number three is pretty easily West Mexico, and after we get to number six, things start going a bit more south. Four and five and six used to be Australia, but now that's kind of starting to switch up a bit. A lot of nations are starting to catch up with Australia, and they're similar to Sumatra. They want to prove they're still worthy of being sixth. But the new number six is South China. In number seven, we give it to Australia. Number eight, we're going to give to Switzerland. Sweden. Number eight is Sweden. Number nine is Switzerland. And Russia ended up fixing the big problem that they had, which was stability. So they have now gotten into 10th. 11th, we come out to Baikal for, and in a not far behind 12 is Korea. 13 is India. Mozambique has gotten themselves up to 14. We see Libya now enters the power rankings at 15. 16, we're going to come down to Brazil for. And now we see West Africa has fallen all the way to 17th place, which was where Guinea used to be. 18th is Persia. Um, in 19th place, it is still this country here. And in a not far behind 20th, give them 21 is West Africa. 22 is actually Gibraltar is 22, and 23 Catalonia. 24 goes over to Michigan, and lastly, the country in the 25 spot is actually Tibet. It's Istanbul. They fell off quite a lot too, but we're going to take a quick trip back to ideology, as they also are going to be switching their ideology, but this their nation is among the countries that are heavily divided between fascism, or like a fascist party and a communist party. Over the communist party will win, and the fascist party is trying to start up revolts, but communism is more popular in their nation, which is why they are unstable, but still 25 stability, or 25 ranking. Alright, but that will do it for today's episode. And actually, if you guys are wondering about the nukes, there were no nukes developed at all. Like, throughout the time this happened, no nukes were developed at all. The nukes from the last episode, around half of them would have actually been developed in this episode, but a lot of countries only had one nuke, which is why. And also, we will talk about Antarctica soon. But with that, if you guys enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like and subscribe. If you enjoy, I just repeated it myself. Okay, if you guys enjoyed today's episode, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.